Full speed ahead. Don't look back. Everything in the past is bad. And the future is just rainbows and unicorns. With every new step up on the progressive ladder of technology, we lose old friends and companions in form of perfectly fine plugins and software. Is there any practical way to live alongside the past? Or should we just let former glories crumble and fully embrace the latest technical inventions, no matter what we lose? No matter what you feel about Apple, they are a company that is on the very edge of pushing technology forward. They are completely ruthless. No matter the amount of dead software or hardware their decisions leaves behind, fast forward to the future. I have an excellent Midas 24-channel mixing desk in storage, only because it uses FireWire. You remember the old FireWire versus USB technology battle? Well, FireWire lost, and Apple have burned every trace of it from their modern operating systems. And Mac users all over the world have seen their high-end audio interfaces turn into flamboyant doorstops. I know what you're thinking, but this is actually not a rant about Apple per se. But I am using Apple as an example because they perfectly illustrate an awful industry trend that is getting increasingly worse with every passing year. When Apple removed the headphone jack on their phones, everybody laughed. And I remember even seeing TV adverts from Samsung openly mocking Apple. Oh, we at Samsung would never do such a thing. Buy our phones now. Today, the headphone jack is extinct. We've seen this exact loop repeat over and over again in the industry. Apple kills off something, gets openly mocked about it, and a few years later, the whole industry is doing what Apple did. Every Mac user I know of have mental scars like a berserker Viking all over, due to the mess every new version of Mac OS is creating every single year. But sadly, after years of the music industry been mocking Apple, shockingly, they are slowly starting to do exactly the same thing. The latest Ableton 12 cannot run on anything less than an Intel or AMD processor with AVX2 instructions. Some synth plugins can't operate if you don't have a proper graphic card on your computer. Even some plugin manager can't even be installed if you don't have a modern operating system. I am not kidding. The new Native Instruments Access requires Mac OS 11 or Windows 10 at the minimum, and an OpenGL 2.1 compatible graphics card. Access is not a hardcore demanding synth plugin. Access is the effing installer.
Yeah but no. You don't have to update if you don't want to. Nobody is forcing you, okay?
Well, while that is true for a couple of years, beyond that, it's completely unsustainable. Have you tried to do anything with an old computer? In many cases, you can't even access the internet if you don't have a modern browser. And modern browsers can't be installed on old computers. This, right here, is one of the many reasons why people have a soft spot for hardware. In 2005, I moved away from Sweden to new, greener pastures. And with me, I brought two new shiny toys for my new life. A Virus TI Polar and a high-end Dell computer running Windows. Today, the Dell computer is completely unusable. I don't even think I've seen it for 15 years. The Virus, on the other hand, have been sitting in my studio ever since. Works perfectly and sounds as good as ever. Oh, wait, it doesn't work perfectly. The software component is completely messed up and doesn't work any longer. Pretty ironic, isn't it? The only part of the synth that actually relies on computer technology outside the actual synth stopped working, but the synth itself is still kick-ass. What a beautiful metaphor of the day and age we are living in. There are still some sane developers in the world that refuses to jump on the hype train of progressivism for progressivism's sake. RME, for example, creates the best audio interfaces in the world, with the best damn drivers you can possibly find. Their drivers have support all the way back to OS X Leopard and Windows XP. Why is that? Is it that the people at RME actually knows how to code? And the rest just relies on modern external compiler libraries and extensions? I don't know. I'm not a coder, but it's interesting to think about. For sure, not all software deserves to be kept. A lot of them are being replaced by better stuff. Take Native Instruments, for example. Their old Pro 53 have been replaced by UHI Repro or the Softube Model 80. And no one in their right mind would say Pro 53 would bring anything to the table today. But then you have something like Absinthe, a truly unique and innovative synthesizer, which could have moved on to impressive heights in a more caring home than in Native Instruments' house. And let's not get into the whole Core 2 Stinky affair. But some softwares are really worth keeping alive. The only way I found out to keep old software running is to keep lots of old computers as dedicated time capsules. Mac Minis are great for this. They are small, and you can store a whole bunch of them under the table ready to be used. And incredibly enough, they can all use the same RME babyface I'm using for my modern Silicon Mac M2 Mega Ultra something something. How are you dealing with old software left in the dust due to updates? Are you just biting the bullet, buying a new computer, finding new software? Or have you found ways to keep your old gems working? This is a subject that interests me greatly. Please let me know how you deal with this in the comments below.